All right, folks, welcome to KNOXFF. I'm glad everyone can join. We had some serious technical difficulties with Bo Pony. I don't know what's going on. He couldn't hear us. We couldn't hear him. Then he could hear us, and then we couldn't hear him, and then he couldn't hear us. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So I'm going to bring Bo Pony. He might try to come back on the room again or try this again. But for the most part, you're stuck with me. You're stuck with me for now until I can get Bo Pony back on here. But I just got off the phone with the Ghost. This Cuba situation is becoming a lot more real than people know. Is this the Cuban Missile Crisis that Juanito talks about? Cuba Missile Crisis 2.0. It's turning out to be that. They mean business. They're not going to just surrender from what I'm hearing. And the Ghost has some valuable information on this, dealing with those boards, that letter in the alphabet. He's going to come on Nino'sCorner.tv right after this. That's why I couldn't wait for Bo any longer, because I have a very crucial podcast that cannot go on YouTube with the Ghost discussing GITMO and the Cuba situation. Apparently, this is a lot more real than people know, and Trump knows this as well. And this is where things are going to get pretty wacky and crazy, and which is another reason why Trump went to China to hopefully smooth things over. But you know, China is very, very sneaky. They're very sneaky. So we don't know what's going to happen here. Like I said, they're going to target GITMO. And if they hit GITMO, arrest could be postponed maybe. I don't know. But this is a threat that needs to be handled. I wasn't aware of this. I wasn't really aware of Cuba being such a threat because they're such a small country. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. No, obviously this is a bigger threat than I could understand. And the Ghost relayed that to me. No, you don't understand. This is one of the next geographical, what did he say here? He said, geographical threats. Cuba needs to be, the threat needs to be eliminated. He's going to go into that on Nino'sCorner.tv right after this. I'll get it up today. But folks, hit the notification button. Like, share, subscribe. Also, Venmo. Some of you give to me on Venmo. I appreciate it. I answer everybody on Venmo. Also, the super chats help out a lot too. Appreciate that. So yeah, that all helps. Ringside with Nino is going to be Wednesday the 27th. The next Ringside with Nino. That's going to be amazing as always. Also, the sale is still up. I'm still doing it, folks. The Live Forever sale on Nino'sCorner.tv. One-time payment, and you're good to go. Or you can pay monthly. It's up to you. When the lights go out. Let's get into this. When the lights go out on Amazon, please leave an honest review. Yes, I really wrote this book. I didn't use AI because there was no AI back then. And you know what? I probably wouldn't have used it anyway. Also, my mama's book, The Mexican Mix. Please leave an honest review on that as well. And folks, a lot of you have been asking me about this. What do I recommend for metals? Well, obviously gold and silver, but there's something else. This is a big one, and they reached out to me. So I'm reading these ads for them, and it's the KNOX Vault. Now, this is pretty crazy. I never would have thought about this, but I guess we're in so much war right now. Why not? So, all right, this is the big one. While everyone's watching the weapon systems and the troop movements, the real battle is happening further upstream in the raw materials that make all of it possible. Let's get into it. Every jet, every tank, and almost every piece of munition in some way contains something the U.S. hasn't mined in nearly a decade. The Pentagon, through the DOD, has spent close to $10 million to restart domestic tungsten. That's what it is. Tungsten production, and Trump signed Project Vault, a $12 billion critical mineral stockpile plan aimed at breaking foreign dominance and reshaping the mining sector. And that's not all. An additional $30 billion was announced at the critical minerals ministerial to accelerate domestic production and secure strategic supply chains. America needs its own tungsten. The war in Iran has been a stark reminder just how much this is needed for the U.S. defense of thousands of drones, missile, and ammunition. Tungsten has a big role to play in that, and it isn't just a metal, it's a national resilience, folks. To learn more about this, to get involved in the mining of tungsten and get involved, go to the check out the links down in the description, or I think Alex is actually showing it here, vaultstrategic.com, vaultstrategic.com. You won't be sorry. I'm getting a lot of these, companies are reaching out to me for stuff like this because I have a great audience, they say. So good news, right? Good news. All right, so listen to this. We have ninoscorner.shop. You can get yourself a hat, shirts, hoodies, and a coffee mug. I want to put more stuff up there. I'm going to try to put up beanies and some socks. You guys would like the socks? Some Sancho socks. I need to get some Sancho gear on there. Right now, this is the line we have right now. Truth hits hard. I love it. I wear it everywhere, especially to the gym. And a lot of people ask me, hey, you think you hit hard, huh? I go, I know I do. Yeah. All right. And then, so that's ninoscorner.shop and then ninoscorner.tv. Whoo, this is going to be fire. The Ghost is coming on today. I asked him, I said, do you want to jump on with Bo Pony? He goes, no, can't go on YouTube. Can't go on YouTube. This is important. This has to do with GITMO. It has to do with that letter in the alphabet, that 17th letter. He goes, listen, I have a lot to talk about on this. Things are going to get pretty damn crazy. I said, all right. So ninoscorner.tv with the Ghost. Right after this, I'm rolling right into it. And maybe I'll roll into Bo Pony after that. I don't know. So Wino Saving, the Ghost, Daniel Brinkley's coming back on. We have Mike Fury, the defense contractor. Folks, his cancer is gone. His cancer gone. And I want to talk to him on how he did that because it was metastasizing and it was, I believe, in his colon and it was severe. And he took his own stuff. And I don't want to get into it here, but we're going to talk about that on ninoscorner.tv. For that alone is going to be a huge, huge podcast because I know firsthand he did it. I know he did it. The guy's a walking miracle, And so he's going to explain what he did, the doses he took, all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get into it on Fluff Tube because they could cancel you for shit like that. Also, SGN on Ben Swan. Ben Swan's coming on. Gene Decode. The next general in the general's tent, May 28th, 5 p.m. Yeah, that's going to be – I love Gene Decode. Oh, and Ron Searchy's coming on. Ron Searchy was on. Ron Searchy's doing the reverse speech, right? You guys have seen him before. That'll be on YouTube. I'm going to put him up tomorrow or on Thursday. But he did Erica Kirk, Candace Owens, Bo Pony, myself, JFK, and many others. So it's pretty crazy what he gets out. I don't know if y'all believe this stuff. I think you hear what you hear, but what do I know, right? What do I know? I'm a skeptic on everything. And by the way, let me just say this. I got a lot of shit for the Cat Williams post I put on. I'm sorry, but it was absolutely was a humiliation ritual. In order to get on the big stage like that and roast Kevin Hart, you got to play ball. They're not going to just let him get up there and roast him. No, he had to take the olive branch and bow his head and shake his hand. Folks, I know people in Hollywood. I was in this circle. I was in this sports arena. I know how this shit works. You ain't getting by on me in this. Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong, Rodriguez. No, I'm right. And I bet you we start seeing him maybe in some cameos. So maybe he might be in some Kevin Hart movies. Just saying, folks, that was absolutely, you don't just get invited to roast Kevin Hart and then just walk off the stage like this. No, he had to bow his head and shake his hand. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about here. So it is what it is. So let's get into this. You might want to turn it down or turn it up. You might want to turn it down or turn it up. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, baby. Bing. Poke you in the eyes. Poke you in the eyes. Poke you in the eyes. All right. Is Bo Pony in the back still? Alex?
Yeah, his audio is working now.
No, let's see. Pull him up.
Yeah, he's here.
Bring him up real quick. Bo, you there?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
All right, get him off. I'll bring him up in 5 minutes.
Okay. Sounds good. Sweet.
See you in 5 minutes. All right, so it's working. So Bo Pony is coming on. All right, so, well, folks, the National Day of Prayer has been completed, and I expect this is when the rubber hits the road. We have Trump signing a special document for VP Vance in case anything happens to him. What do you mean? Well, it looks like things are going to get pretty damn serious, and the Ghost is going to talk on that as well today, right after this show. We have Janine Pirro putting laws into place for curfews in D.C. where the parents will do jail time. The parents will do jail time if their teenagers are out late. We can't have that. Oh, boy. How do you guys like my gay voice? Ooh. All right. So the signs are there that something big is just around the corner. Kash Patel obviously coming out and saying promising arrests are coming. Obama is buzzing back and forth from Canada to the UK, back to Canada, scared out of his mind. He doesn't know what to do. And, you know, Cuba is on high alert now. High alert. Now, you've heard Juan talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0. I didn't know he meant literally Cuba. But it looks like this could be the situation. And by the way, I'm starting to sound like Juan now. Oh, and by the way, I'll be emceeing the event in Vegas at the Ahern, June 15th to the 17th. Chicka. Mic check, baby. I'll be the one doing it. So Cuba is on high alert as plans are underway to liberate that country. Sure. Oh, boy. Well, they set up the digital AI prison under our noses. Yeah, I'm not. See, a lot of you get mad at me when I talk about the artificial intelligence. And look, I'm not worried about it under Trump, although I do feel like it's still trampling all over our rights, especially because they're going to put it in all the cars and they're not going to let you drive until they do a full face scan. I don't even do the face scans at the airport. So it looks like I'm going to be buying classic cars from here on out. I guess that's just what I'm going to be driving. Because honestly, I bet you older cars are going to go up in value because of this. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not going to be driving AI cars. I'm just not doing it. But this is all coming. And soon laws will be made where you're going to have to drive these cars. You won't be able to leave your 15-minute city. This is where it's going. And sure, under Trump, yeah, he's got 2 years left. Sure, it's great. It's gravy. It's gravy, baby. But what about who's his successor? What about after that person? He may have a great success, but what about down the road? And I know a lot of you say, well, it's going to be a life without crime. We're going to be a lot safer. No, we won't. Who's going to decide the laws on that? Who's going to decide the definition of a criminal? Someone that doesn't have a high social score? Do you see where this is going? This is not good. I don't give a shit what anyone tells me. I don't care what Bo tells me. I don't care what Juan tells me. I don't care. I know where this is going. It doesn't end well. And you know what? Fine. Say what you want about me, but I don't like it. And I know a lot of you don't like it either. I think it's going to be something that a dog's going to get off its leash and it's just going to be an attack dog on everybody. It's going to be terrible. I think that's what's coming. Maybe the next 5 to 10 years will be good. But what about that? What about your children, your grandchildren? It just takes one bad apple to come in and just ruin it and make your life a living hell. One person, one bad leader. So Cuba has also discussed plans to use drones to attack U.S. targets, such as the naval base of Guantanamo Bay, folks. According to this news outlet, Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones, according to classified intelligence cited by this news outlet. The report published on Sunday alleges that Cuba has discussed plans to use military drones to attack the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay, as well as military vessels and possibly Key West, Florida. The Trump administration is concerned because of developments in drone warfare and the presence of Iranian military advisors in Havana. Cited a senior U.S. official as saying, when we think about these types of technologies being that close and a range of bad actors, from terror groups to drug cartels to Iranians to the Russians, it's concerning, very concerning. The unnamed official was quoted as saying it's a growing threat and it needs to be taken seriously. Cuba has been acquiring attack drones from Russia and Iran since 2023. So they've seen this coming and is seeking to buy more. Cuba is on high alert due to a severe nationwide fuel depletion and escalating diplomatic tensions with the U.S. The country is paralyzed by rolling blackouts, and rare protests have emerged in Havana. Tensions remain extremely high following the ultimatum and visits from U.S. officials demanding political reforms. The government recently announced that its oil and diesel reserves have essentially run out, leading to widespread power outages, fuel rationing, and disruptions to medical transport and tourist services. But I guess the drones still work. I guess you don't need any of that for drones. So the U.S. has intensified its maximum pressure on Cuba with new sanctions via Executive Order 14404 and an explosive recent visit to Havana by CIA Director John Ratcliffe. The U.S. demanded the release of high-profile political prisoners and a halt to intelligence operations involving adversarial powers. So this is really heating up, and that's why Ghost is coming on right after this. Thousands have attended the Rededicate 250 prayer celebration on National Mall at the National Mall. I wonder why they added a mall. Thousands of Americans of all ages and backgrounds convened on the National Mall on May 17th, singing unison, arms raised together in prayer. They were in the nation's capital for a faith-based celebration known as Rededicate 250, a national jubilee of prayer, praise, and thanksgiving. Many told the syndicate that the day was about healing and compassion. I feel it's going to be go time. And I've talked to a lot of other people that say, yep, that's what it is. Trump is getting ready to go no holds barred, and that's what's going to happen. Bo Pony, are you still there?
Yes.
Oh, wow, you work. I was getting nervous. All right, so here we are. National Day Prayer has convened. Everyone prayed. Everyone's happy. What can we expect from here, Bo?
Well, we're looking for a shift in the world. Okay, so I've been on your show so many times, and I appreciate everything you do, and I know your viewers love you. And again, you've got a great following. Why? Because people love you. Okay, and you put a lot of different people on your show. And that's awesome because we want a different perspectives. But what I want to illustrate is, of all the different perspectives and even things that you're saying here up front, I was enjoying listening to you. The thing is, there's one truth. And there's a whole bunch of opinions, okay? And that's kind of the issue in what we're seeing in the world right now. And we want to, if possible, I use mathematics to look at the world from a mathematical perspective based on revelation, what the Lord showed me with regards to time. And so if you understand timing of things, then you lose the confusion factor. Oh, I hope that makes sense, because if people could be speaking everything correctly right now, the people you put on your show, they could be saying everything right in terms of like what they understand about the Bible and Revelation and things that are happening in the world, but they could be 1,000% wrong on the timing of it. Does that make sense? And so what we're looking at is,
I don't know. I trust in Jesus Christ. Everyone knows that. But I don't know. I don't know anything.
Well, and that's, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, what I'm trying to point to is that, we all want to know the truth. That's what, you do these shows, you put different people on because we're looking for the truth. And that's the essence of everything, right? And who's the truth? Jesus. Jesus is the truth, right? And he's the way, the truth, and life. And no one comes to the Father but through him, but by him. And so that is the truth. But in the truth, there's a timing of things, okay? And so what I'm saying is, I'm listening to you speak, listen to other people, and there's so much confusion. And who is the master of confusion in the world? The devil. That's right. This guy right here. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so he's the master of confusion. Okay. And he's also the accuser. Okay. So he's two things. He creates massive confusion in the world. And so what are you doing on your podcast? Trying to remove the confusion by bringing different people and different perspectives. And then we can all kind of decide for ourselves. But ultimately,
I'm not the guru of answers. I'm the guru of questions.
Yes. And that's why people love listening to it, because there's a lot of questions that we all have. So you and you always say, I'm just asking questions. And that is the truth. I'm just asking questions, right?
I still find every guest fascinating, right? I'm not saying I believe every guest because I don't. But I mean, eat the meat, throw away the bones. That's what I do.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, we all can make our own opinions about what's could happen where we are, but the point I'm trying to make is real of all of that, there still is only one truth, okay? And the truth is, if you can, we can all think, hey, I think we're here, I think we're here, I think this is going to happen, I think we're going to go to war, I think we're going to nuclear war, I think there's going to be no nuclear war, so there's all these different opinions, but all these different opinions, some of them are half truths, some are completely wrong, but ultimately there's only one truth. And so I'm trying to kind of just narrow this conversation as to like listening to what you were saying up front, right? And yet, like, you're right. What did you say? You actually said, I think we're going to go through a season of things could be actually pretty good because Trump's in office. We could have a season of time that's good. But ultimately, what did you say? I think in about 10 years, it could get really ugly. Isn't that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, maybe even less, maybe 5 years, maybe 3 years. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't see this going. How can you be building all these data centers, AI, artificial intelligence taking over every facet of your life? People aren't going to have jobs anymore. What are people going to do? Well, they'll naturally depopulate. They'll naturally get you chipped. It's already tracking and tracing all of us. This is not good. I don't give a shit how you spin it. It's not good. But maybe for the next 3 to 5 years, it may seem great. No crime, whatever. But then what? Who's going to define the criminal? Oh, you're not doing too well on your social credit score. You can't leave your 15-minute city. I'm sorry. This is all bad to me, Bo.
And I appreciate everything you're saying. And you're exactly right in what you said, because I can't argue any of that. As actually, you're 100% over the target on what you're saying. But understand what happens is Christ knew all this at creation. Father knew all this, okay? And when you read the book, what God showed me something very simply behind me, Revelation, okay? But in red, it says the good news, okay? And so everything you're describing is good, but leads to bad news. You see, like, you know what I'm saying? So what you're saying, but I'm going to explain that you're right. I'm going to spend some time today, just not a lot of time, but just going through the details of the timing of things. Okay. And if you understand the timing of things, then you'll understand why Revelation is actually good news. It's not bad news, but later on it leads into bad things, but God already knew that. And he's going to do things for the church to remove them so they're not going to experience the bad things. Does that make sense? Because in a wedding, and I want to compare this to a wedding, and that's because this is what it is. It's about when Christ returns, it's a wedding feast. So, and like before you got married, I guarantee you, your father didn't allow your bride to get beat up. Okay. And so, and I'm just giving you this example because in any wedding, the bride is protected. She's actually blessed with finances. She's blessed with everything she needs to prepare for that wedding. So when the groom shows up, everything's 1,000% awesome. Okay. And that actually is the definition of Revelation in Christ's return. It's a wedding feast in the future, but before the future, the bride is blessed with immense everything, anything and everything she needs. She's got everything set, and then the Christ returns for the royal wedding. Okay, so my point is, if you understand the wedding concept and you apply it to Revelation, you'll understand there's actually no bad news, but bad news for the devil. It's always, it's bad news for the guys that don't want to listen to the truth. For the devil and those that serve, yes, for those that serve the devil, because what they do, they're like Pharaoh, okay? So at the Red Sea, think of it this way, okay? There's a good and the bad at the Red Sea, because at the Red Sea, Pharaoh dug in his heels, thought he was God, and he went into the Red Sea only to find out he wasn't God, and God was God. And what happened at the Red Sea? And so he dug in his heels. He refused to acknowledge God as God. And so God took him out. Okay. So that's called, there's going to be people on this earth that dig in their heels, think they're 1,000% right. And ultimately God's going to step in and take them out. But on the other side of the Red Sea, Israel is free and there is no one chasing them. Okay. So that's what's coming. Go ahead.
Okay, we got to be a little quick today because I got the ghost right after this, and I'm on time crunch.
Okay, so let's get into this. Okay, so let's start off. Okay, so let's start off. There's a 1-minute clip I just sent, if you can play that, but this is what's about to happen, okay? It's because of the covenant that we have with God. So the founding fathers, because you reached out to me yesterday, let's talk about what just happened yesterday. And what happened yesterday? Yesterday was the greatest time point in human history so far. Okay, because the founding fathers dedicated America to God, and the devil wants to do one specific thing. He wants to acknowledge that there is no covenant. He wants to dismantle the Declaration of Independence. They want to remove all the guns. We're not one nation under God. So the devil is doing everything to dismantle what the founding fathers created. But yesterday, something historic happened. America was rededicated to God, and Trump is, and this has always been about 2 Chronicles. If my children who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face, the face of God, then I will hear from heaven. God will forgive our sins. And this is the critical one here, Nino. Heal our land. Play the video, and then you'll see where I'm going with this.
For many that have cried out and said, God will destroy this nation. The Spirit says, may I remind you, the covenant that I made with this nation is immutable, is unchangeable. And I created and spoke over this nation to feed the world, to heal the earth. God says, yes, judgment will come, but it shall not come at this time in the fashion that they have spoken. They have said, there shall be a crash and America shall be crippled. God said, not at this time, not at this time, for I have raised you up for a season. You have been besieged for 7 years, America. You have been surrounded by your internal enemies. Haters of America have stood up, and I will take the wealth of the wicked and for a season transfer it into the hands of the righteous. I will bring an amount of restoration to this nation, and they shall be taken out of their siege that you've been in for 7 years. And then the songs will come from all over this nation, from young people who deserve to sing my song.
Okay, what I'm showing you there is, Nino, you're right. You've been besieged by haters of America for 7 years. I'm going to take you out of your besiegement, and a judgment will come, but not at this time. You see, so you're right on what you're saying. I want the viewers to understand the time, because time is everything. If you understand time, then it changes your entire perspective on life, okay? And so what just happened was, if you want to pop the slides up here, this is critical what's going on in the world, because this ties, I'm going to give an example of Fiji, okay? So this happened. This is crazy, because there was bloodshed in Fiji. They killed pastors, and all these people in pastors in Fiji were just being killed by demonic entities, okay? And then, this is critical, the Prime Minister of Fiji, so this is the head of Fiji, so like be the president, okay, comes in and he has a national day of prayer. He rededicates Fiji to God, and within 24 hours, holy mackerel, okay? So within 24 hours, this is what started to happen, Nino. Okay, so the fish had returned supernaturally. Fish swarmed the nets like never before. We caught so many fish, our nets were breaking and tearing. Crops, okay, barren fields became abundant. Fruit and trees that had stopped producing fruit came suddenly back to life. Unusual harvests came in a very, very short period of time. Villages, this is awesome. Sickness had left the land. Streams and waters were healed. Families were restored, and peace, joy, and unity had returned to the village. Nino, when you return back to God, he heals your land, okay? We as a nation turned our back to God with Roe v. Wade. This is important because in the 70s, we turned from God. God said, okay, hey, you want to see what it's like without me? Now Nino's doing a show, and he's showing everybody. We all see in the past 6 years what a nation is like and a world is like without God. It goes to hell in a handbasket, okay? And so now what we needed to, I've always thought, like, again, I've thought we're going to see this a year or two ago, okay? Only to find out that it was a 10-year winter we had to go through, okay? So we needed to go through 10 years. So Trump won the election in 2016, the prophet you just listened, Kim Clement, died in November 2016. If you add 10 years, you got 2026, bada boom, here and now. So we're at the year 2026, and lo and behold, yesterday we rededicate America to God, which means that no holds barred. God, if you want to go back on full screen here, this is important because what happens is when you rededicate a nation to God, okay, it's about covenant. See, when God said something, he doesn't change his mind. Okay, so when God said specifically, to Adam and Eve, he made everything, and then he gave to Adam the entire globe. He gave it all to Adam, and then Adam lets the devil come in and steal it from him. And now you've got the king of, the prince of the air running the world, and so the world is totally corrupt. And then you had in the 70s with Project Bluebeam, they come into Washington, they come into the CIA headquarters, they make a deal with the devil, and all hell breaks loose in America 50 years later. And then we got what we got right now. And so we now now two things we read. So, and that covenant was confirmed by Roe v. Wade becoming law. Okay. So it was a blood covenant. Now we've overturned Roe v. Wade. We've been praying 2 Chronicles. We've now overturned Roe v. Wade. Now that Roe v. Wade is overturned, all we're waiting for is God to step in and heal our land. Okay. So God's about to step in and heal our land. May is the May Queen month. It's a very important month. Everything's supposed to trigger here this month in May. Hopefully, we'll see, okay? But we're supposed to see an act of God, something biblical that changes the course of history before the 4th of July. Because the 4th of July...
But you said this last year, too.
I understand. You can and put my feet to the fire this one. I appreciate all that. What I'm saying is I thought silver was going to explode 3 years ago. Okay. I've not been wrong. I've just been early. Okay?
I don't think you're wrong.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not wrong. I was early. Okay. But everybody who listened to me, for example, like on silver, okay, everybody's dancing for joy right now because I was telling everybody on your show and others to load up on silver when it was $20. Nino, just as we speak, it's $80 right now. Okay,
you absolutely were.
Yeah, and I was right about going through $50. Okay, but this is the key. Okay, the fall of Babylon. What we're waiting for. I'm going to get into this here, kind of get into the end here. What we're waiting for is an act of God that causes silver to explode, and that is the fall of the Babylonian system that's enslaving everybody. And then you're going to see that you've been besieged by haters of America for 7 years. That prophecy, but when God shows up, Babylon falls, silver explodes. Okay, so everybody who's been listening to what we've been saying, and I've been saying about precious metals, silver is the marker for the collapse of the beast system. So if you want to pop back on the slide here, and it ties in with the death of the Pope. Okay, so remember the Pope died on April 21 last year. Okay, the mathematics of this, you got to say, like, seriously, what is happening? Okay, so the Pope dies on April 21 last year at 88 years old, and Klaus Schwab resigns as he steps into his 88th year on 4/2/1 on April 21. Okay, so now the crazy part on all of this, guess what happened? The same date, same exact date. What happened this year on April 21? This is nuts. On this same exact date, I'm trying to find here, 4/21, Trump reads 2 Chronicles. Nino, like, are you kidding me? So the Pope dies on 4/21 last year, and this year Trump reads 2 Chronicles on 4/21. This is nuts, but it's not, because it's by design. Okay, and so what's about to happen right here is we're about to see now an intervention of God. And so this is what's standing right now. It's called Babylon, the beast system. Okay, Babylon's about to fall. When Babylon falls, silver explodes. Cryptocurrencies explode. The system they're trying to control, they lose control. Now, why I want to show this is because of the chart of this right here. What you're looking for is the fall of the Babylonian control beast system. This then steps us into a season of the greatest time in human history. We're going to have immense prosperity, and all of this ties into what we talked about in prior shows. All right, this is going to be millions of people are going to die because it's about the removal of the Nephilim spirit off the face of this earth. And then what happens and then we go through a season of awesome time in the earth, and then in the future, guess what rises? This is what you're talking about, the beast system. Okay, and so what's happening is the mortal wound that's about to happen. It's called a mortal wound. Babylon gets a mortal wound, and the Babylon then falls. After the mortal, and then you get into a season of the greatest time in history. But then we get into here. This is the problem. People take scriptures, Nino, and when it says about, the great and terrible day, they're assuming that the great and terrible day, 'cause I've come under attack like gangbusters. People think many people who don't understand this think I'm nuts, but I'm going to be proven 1,000% right. I was just like on this, like silver, early, but I'm going to be 1,000% right because God revealed the timing of things to me. Okay. And now that I understand the 10-year window, the fall of Babylon is the mortal wound. That's this right here. Okay. So we're going to see the fall of Mystery Babylon. Babylon falls. And then we step into an incredible time, specifically 7 years of the greatest time in history. Babylon falls. The mortal wound is supposed to happen still in spring here. Okay. Like potentially like any time now that we've rededicated God. And this is key because of the covenant that was made. God is going to restore the covenant. Okay. But God is he's a gentleman. What that means? It means God can't tell you to do something because you have free will, Nino. We all have free will. It's all about free will. So you have to ask God and then he will work for you. This is like the whole thing about it's ask and you shall receive. So we needed to ask God to come in and save America and now do the part of heal our land. Go ahead, Nino.
Well, I can't tell people to do anything, but I could suggest things, right? Which is one of the things I suggest is get trim, baby, and lose some weight. All right, folks, a bombshell study just revealed that GLP-1 drugs don't actually work the same for everyone. Your genes determine whether the injections work at all and whether you'll suffer the side effects. At nearly $1,000 a month, that's a brutal gamble millions of Americans are unknowingly taking. This is why I'm obsessed with GLP-1. Instead of pharmaceutical gamble, it uses clinically studied plant-based ingredients like metabolate to help my body naturally boost its own GLP-1 signals, the ones controlling hunger and fullness. No prescriptions, no needles, no genetic lottery. I get fewer cravings, get fuller faster, and actually keep my results without the metabolic crash. If you're scared of needles, you're scared of peptides, this is the way to go. Get 51% off at Trim with Nino right now, and every order includes free VIP coaching for life and a 60-day money-back guarantee if you're not impressed with the results, baby. All right, so get on that, folks. All right, Bo, go ahead. Sorry, I have to do my little thing, my little shit.
Actually, it gives me a time to kind of refresh and just kind of reposition my slides of what I want to talk about. But the point here is when you look at this slide, okay, it's very interesting to understand, okay? If you think that when the return of Christ is the great and terrible day, it's not. Okay, so this is the attack that I've had against so many people, or people have attacking me, because I'm saying that the great and terrible day is about to happen, and they're saying that the great and terrible day is when Christ returns, and that's the problem. It's a misunderstanding of Scripture. People think they make it up in their head. So there's so many pastors out there, several particular, that think they understand everything, but God didn't give them the revelation. They're actually hearing from demonic spirits, okay? They're coming against me saying they're pastors. They're like prophets, right? Not prophets. They're like the Pharisees when Jesus walked.
A lot of the prophets or a lot of the pastors, you all don't really agree with each other on much.
That's what's happening right now, right? So that's what I'm trying to say is there's so much confusion, and the devil's come in and really he loves it. Okay, so the devil loves confusion. He loves 1,000 different churches, because as long as there's 1,000 churches battling against one another, they all believe in Christ, but they're all battling against one another. So he loves it. Okay, and there's only one truth, and the truth is what I just showed you. That was a prophecy of Kim Clement, where God's going to step in because of the covenant that he made with this nation is immutable. It stands forever. Okay, so because the covenant stands forever, and now that we have overturned Roe v. Wade, and that was a problem with all of this. Now that we've overturned Roe v. Wade, all we're waiting for is God is going to heal our land. But he's not going to heal our land until we ask him to, because he's a gentleman, but also he's not going to go against his word, because he can't force anything on anybody. We all have free will. And so because now the president of, let's like Fiji, the head of America, the most powerful nation in the world, is now asking God to come in and heal our land. So now what's happened is, this is interesting. Please, everybody listen. This is key. God now has legal authority because the president of America, the most powerful nation in the world, has asked God to come into America and heal America. So you want to know what's about to happen? Chaos. Okay, because the devil's.
I agree with that. I think that's when do you think that's going to happen?
Like this week, it could start, because like look what happened to Fiji.
Come on, Bo.
No, please. Let me just finish my statement. Okay, I'm just showing you an example of Fiji. Okay, Fiji happened within 24 hours. Now I don't know if this is going to happen within 24 hours, but what I'm saying is, let me just finish my sentence. This could start as early as this week, but it's something's expected to happen before the 4th of July. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. But actually,
I can go with that. I can go before 4th.
Yeah. But if I'm saying, but it could be as early as this week, just because of the
before midterms.
Yeah, well, I would say this, but it has to happen still before the 4th of July, because God revealed to me the timing of this thing. And Isaiah 6, this is tied in with Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61 says the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance. Okay, so the year began on the 4th of July last year, and it was confirmed with a massive flooding. Remember the flooding happened in Texas? Okay, that flooding in Texas was the water breaking, confirming that it literally happened on the 4th of July. Okay, and so 1 year from that is this 4th of July, which means Isaiah 61, the year of the Lord's favor, ends this 4th of July. And in that scripture, it says the day of vengeance. Okay, so the day of vengeance is the mortal wound. Okay, so everybody stay with me here. Okay, it's very simple. I'm trying to keep it simple. Day of vengeance is it's a day. It's a 24-hour window where God steps in and changes history. And it'd be like the Red Sea was 24 hours. Angel of Death was 24 hours, okay? So there's a 24-hour window expected anytime between now that we've rededicated America, into the 4th of July. But I still think it's in spring, which will be potentially before June 21, okay? And so there's a day coming where God would intervene. It's a day of God's vengeance, okay? And that ties in with Joel 2:31, that the year, it ties in with the great and the terrible day. And so when Christ returns, it's the day that God returns. It has nothing to do with the great and the terrible day. It's just the return of Christ, okay? It's not the great and terrible day. So the attacks have come against those that are preaching the great and terrible day, the so-called prophets, the so-called, Bible scholars think we're nuts because they think the great and terrible day, listen very closely, is when Christ returns. It's not. The great and terrible day is when God steps in and removes the Nephilim spirit off the earth. And this is then why they have to call the alien card. Because when suddenly,
but Trump's taking that away from them right now, right? With his disclosure, don't you think that's what he's trying to do?
Well, regardless, I just find the timing of things interesting because there are no aliens; they're demonic entities. Okay, and that's, you have to understand that. And this is, and where people think this is crazy, please read these scriptures. This is actually, the aliens have been in the Bible for thousands of years. These are the scriptures that talk about aliens in the Bible, okay? So aliens aren't new, they're just demonic entities, and they're in the Bible.
Interdimensional intruders, right? Coming from some other realm, right? Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
Well, what they are is they're demons. So demons work in a different dimension, right? And they need bodies to occupy. You've had L.A. Marzullian talking about all this, so they need suits. And that's what they do. They need suits. Okay, what does that mean? It means that people in like government officials in Hollywood, all over the world right now, what they did is they bowed down and they became the suit for the demonic entity. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, so, I agree. I think they could turn into anything they want you to perceive them as.
But because of free will, the demonic entities are not allowed to come in to me or to you unless you allow it to happen. So they bow down and they get the offer that Jesus got in the wilderness: bow down and I'll make you a king on the earth. Okay, so now all these people in political positions, they're all multi-millionaires. Why? Because they've bowed down and they're kings on the earth right now, financially positioned with their political positions. They never leave office. And so when God intervenes, what it is, it's the removal. This is important here. It's the removal of the Nephilim spirit that had been written in the book of Enoch. Okay, this is not made up. Read the book of Enoch. And so when God removes the Nephilim, everybody, please listen closely. The removal of the Nephilim spirit is the great and terrible day. It's the day that silver begins to explode because they've used the demonic system to enslave you. You think you're free? Okay, then why do you have a mortgage? Why do you have student loans? Why do you have credit cards? All of these monies were created out of thin air. So, and they've been created by the Nephilim to enslave you. It's a bondage system. Now, I want to say, when God removes the Nephilim spirit, they're going to blame it on the aliens. And who's going to blame it? It's the other spirits. On the right side here, there's a Jezebel spirit, the Antichrist spirit, the religious spirit, the lying spirit, the spirit of fear, spirit of seduction. These spirits remain, and they're going to now step forth and blame it on the aliens that did this. But what happens at that moment in time, Nino, Babylon gets the mortal wound, and a mortal wound is not a death blow. What's a death blow? How many people have gone hunting? When you shoot an animal in the head, it's dead. If you shoot an animal in the arm or in the chest, but not in the heart, it's bleeding to death, but it ain't dead. Go ahead, Nino.
I got to cut it here. I got to jump on with the ghost. You want to hear some what the fuck news, Bo?
Sure. Yeah, I'll stick in here.
You got to stick around for that. You got to stick.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Okay, I'll stick around for it. Go ahead. Yes. Right. But I hope I've explained that so people understand the sequence of these events. Okay. A mortal wound's about to happen, and we step into the greatest time in history for a season. And specifically, the answer that God actually said.
I'm over the target myself, too.
You are. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And God actually said it's 7 years we step into. Go ahead, Nino.
All right, folks, let's get to what the fuck news and what the fuck news and what the fuck news. All right. Southwest Airline bans robots after humanoid Stewie takes flight. This is just getting stupid. A 3'5" humanoid robot scored a seat on a Southwest Airlines flight to Dallas, but the airline grounded the bot before it could earn frequent flyer miles. Tech entrepreneur Aaron Mendoza-Day, I think that's how you say his name, gave the robot the name Stewie, his own seat in coach aboard a May 10th flight from Las Vegas to Dallas, instead of checking him in the cargo, according to CBS News. So, wow. So you know what I think they're trying to do here, Bo? I have a feeling they're going to try to make these robots, more and more seen, condition the public so that they have some kind of a citizenship or rights, or they become sentient beings, so we accept them. That's what I think they're doing, man.
I'll give you a good example. Okay, so from a legal perspective, Black's law, a corporation is dead. So like an LLC, when you step into court, you have to declare your name. Is your name blah blah blah? And when you declare your name, you become the dead entity, that a corporation that's on your driver's license or that's in your passport. So you become dead. Okay, so it's all about control, being dead. And what the law is now trying to do, it's actually done. They want a corporation to become a living entity.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Look at this. I mean, it's bananas. Bo, thank you so much. I'll bring you back on again soon. Folks, I'm out of here. I got to jump on with the ghost. He said it's a very important podcast. I believe him. It has to do with that letter in the alphabet, with GITMO, with Cuba, everything that's going down. I'll see you there. I'll make sure I put it up today, folks. It'll be on ninoscorner.tv. The ghost, major intel coming up later, folks. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting. Later.